In its quest to attain food security and pest-free agricultural produce, Nigeria has been recently employing chemical means to control some of its most stubborn pests like weevils and beetles. This situation necessitated the mass importation of pesticides. On one hand, it appears like a good development, but on the other, the uncalibrated use of pesticides by farmers and allied workers in agriculture has boggled the minds of observers and environmental experts. It is against this backdrop that the Enrich Ball Foundation launched a pesticide atlas in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, to point out the statistics, impact, and solutions to the country's heavy dependence on pesticides, as it was established that the country spent a whopping $384 million on pesticides in 2018, according to official data released by the Food and Agricultural Organization (FAO). The event facilitator, Joyce Brown, said the negative impact of pesticides is hydra-headed, as she pointed out that its adverse effect starts from the farmer applying heat before it degrades the biodiversity of the soil.
There are so many implications of these inorganic pesticides on farmers, on the environment, and even on our economy. To start with, farmers are adversely affected in terms of pesticide poisoning when they use this pesticides without wearing the personal protective equipment, and sometimes even when they wear those equipments. And also we have the pesticides running off to contaminate water, drinking water sources, and water that is used for other functions. And so we have people coming down with several illnesses, cancers, immune disorders, infertility issues, that were not at the rate at which we have them today. And in terms of environmental implication, we have the destruction of biodiversity because many of these pesticides destroy non-target organisms. So beside the pests that they are applied to tackle, they go ahead to destroy beneficial insects on the farmland.
The regulatory controls
Mary Aishaya,
as
the
well
national
as
president, Small Scale
environmental
Women Farmers Organization of Nigeria,
boundaries.
said farmers had innocently focused on the positive effects of pesticides until recently, when the adverse effects of the chemicals became disheartening.
We're thinking that this pesticide has helped us to reduce the amount of time we spend in the farm and also help us to destroy a lot of insect that disturbs us in the farm. We've never come to think of the negative side effect of it until of recent, when we heard of what happened in Benue, where a lot of families were destroyed. And also we've had stories of people mixing some of this product using with containers they used to cook food, and the families were all destroyed. And it has become something very worrisome to us. Some of the sickness we see around happening, we never attributed it to this pesticide until, recently, when we were actually being told of the research that have been carried out, that a lot of sicknesses, especially cancer, that we have around the world is attributed to this harmful pesticide that we've been using in the farm.
A keynote speaker, Professor Simon Etwangi, noted that Nigeria's agricultural sector is riddled with indiscriminate application of pesticides. He expressed his dismay at the increased health challenges occasioned by the use of the chemicals.
Pesticides have permeated our agriculture. We have become so dependent on pesticides that there is hardly anything we do without application of pesticides in our agriculture. And it has given rise to a lot of health challenges within the population. In addition to the deleterious effects on the soil and on beneficial insects to our agriculture. And it is to this extent that as a country we need to come together and see what we can do to tackle the issue of pesticides in our agriculture in this country.
The program manager, Sustainable Nigeria Program of the Enrich Ball Foundation, Donald Ikena, delved into the economic effects of the country's overdependence on pesticides, while noting the scale of rejection Nigeria's farm produce have suffered during exportation.
According to NAFDAC, the same report, according to Nigerian Quarantine Service, Nigeria loses over $300 million on beans, exported beans that are rejected alone.
Yearly?
This is, yes, yearly, annually. So this is just one crop. I'm not talking of every year. I'm just picking just one crop, beans. So it's on the media. Nigeria's beans has been rejected severally, and that figure is about $364 million annually every year that is rejected. We know also that sesame, which is one of Nigeria's big export crops to Japan, currently Japan is considering stopping its import of sesame from Nigeria simply because of pesticide.
With the release of the Pesticide Atlas, Nigeria, one of the largest importers of pesticides in Africa, is expected to explore other veritable means of controlling pests while adopting a measured use of chemicals by training and retraining farmers and extension workers on the accurate application of pesticides. In Abuja, Nigeria's capital, Abiodun Mohammed, Top Accolade News.